Greetings and welcome to another edition of Top 10 Worst of Lists, the premier resource of your top 10 worst of needs, hooking you up with good stuff, recognized in a wide variety of top 10 worst of adjudicating resources as the finest in worst of list presentations, both in terms of content as well as production value. I'm your host for today's edition of Top 10 Worst of Lists. My name is Ben Doverbitch, and what an honor it is to be able to be here yet again to go on a mystical journey into unknown arenas of profundity and explore uncharted fonts of unlimited knowledge and objective truths. And today's list is something so special that I'm foaming at the tip. It's top 10 worst blind date conversation icebreakers. Now, many people say that by including the worst of qualifier for each of our lists, that those of us here top 10 worst of lists are a wee bit negative. Debbie Downers, they call us. Not true. Actually, if you were to analyze this is we've done, I think, over 160 episodes at this junction since April. No wonder I feel like garbage. I look as bad as you look on your worst day. But the thing is that, what we're doing here is really actually a positive enterprise. If you're talking about like the net impact of the efforts and the intrinsic values of top 10 worst of lists and the impact on your lives, the enlightening, almost, I would say, too optimistic. Frankly, if we're being honest with each other, which I really think at this point we should be. 160 episodes, Simpatico, I think, has already established a very highly attenuated version of simpatico. In fact, top 10, like for today's example, top 10 worst blind date conversation icebreakers. Now, look, the world is, the various different shortages of this world, peace of mind, peace for mankind, equity in the world for all, justice for all, Ted Nugent's album Free for All, Yes's album Going for the One, the best of bread, the Passion Play by Jethro Tull, the song There's Good Rockin' at Midnight. I don't know who does it, but it's been done. What am I driving at? I can't remember. I really don't. I'd love to pause the thing and rewind it and take a look, but I can't. I just don't have the facility to be able to do it. But Top 10 Worst of List is seeking those enhancements to our lives. Top 10 Blind Date Conversation Icebreakers is looking to try to help you to get icebreakers so you can find more love in the world. Instead of relying on, sort of sublimations of love. You know what I'm talking about. I'm talking about eating your emotions. Hello. Case in point. I'm talking about stress eating. Hello. Case in point. I'm talking about Eating Raoul, that great sort of indie movie from back in the late 70s or something like that, and that's a great movie. If you haven't seen Eating Raoul, you're really cheating yourself on one of life's rich and inviting pageantry and excellence, recreational pets. All of these things are sublimations for not being able to connect with others. I mean, all the barriers that we've got. You can't even talk to anybody without, running afoul of a microaggression while you're trying to explain, who knows what the hell. I mean, there's things you can't say homeless without, people going like, oh, you suck and I hate you and I want to ruin your life. And let's dox this guy right now. Let's make sure that he gets all his ass whooped for daring to say homeless to somebody. Build more barriers. It's working so great. Find more excuses to hate each other when you would ordinarily be, most of the bigger issues you'd be having common, and you'd be, working together on trying to find solutions if you didn't just put up so many barriers. And then you're like, oh, well, okay, there's so much hate in my world. I'll buy a recreational pet and, it'll, be blindly obedient to me, and it'll mimic the idea of unconditional love, even though, look, if I was out of the picture and you brought in a new master, that pet would respond eventually to that new master the same way they did to you. So you're, replaceable in the so-called imaginary relationship between people and pets. And you're going I got a pet. I'm gonna buy a bunch of really thick plastic bags and put their poops and peepees in there. And I'll throw them into landfills. And then I'll complain about how much better paper bags are than plastic bags at the grocery store, even though they're contributing 10 times as much bulk to the landfills, even though it takes them 10 times as many trucks to cart them over with 10 times as much pollution, with 10 times as much expenses for the truck drivers, 10 times as much gas used, and driving up prices, especially with diesel as high as it is these days. I'm going to do all those things because I am the greatest font of knowledge that's ever been created on planet Earth, and I'm never wrong. And nothing I believe in is ever wrong. I'm always perfect. Every way and every day, every way, I'm getting better and better. Yeah, right. Knock, knock, knock. Who is it? Oh, it has the alien. I'm sorry, not the alien. Let's try that again. Take two. Who is it? It has the AI robot come to take you down to the cattle car. Already? I'd like to introduce Top 10 Worst co-host. It is, of course, the ultra cheap / free a sound effects console. What do you think of this, huh? Wait a second, I got a whole bit ready to go. Jesus God. Hello, Top 10 Worst Subs. Yes. 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 Yeah, sure. Wrong number. Hey, Fred! Freddy boy! Bowl of strike, Freddy boy! The Lord of Water Buffalo Barn! All right. Well, we're talking about imitations. You got to go for quality. This has been my go-to imitation now for the last 3 episodes. It's, of course, from the movie The Godfather, Vito's Corleone. I want you to raise a video with the picture of the 5 films. Therefore, stop for now. Thank you very much. Thank you so much for all the wonderful, warm support from all the right people and all the right places. Jesus Christ, can you turn up the volume on this sucker just a little? Jesus Christ, here we go. Thank you. Yes, thank you. Thank you, I love you so much. I can't possibly describe it. without showing you physically. All right, so anyway, top 10 worst of what's it called? It's number one, I'm not going to be partisan. I'm not a partisan hack anymore. I've freed myself from the bonds of the little scheme that they've employed created by Machiavelli 600 years ago that you're still falling for like a total 2-year-old trying to walk for the first time. Plink. Thwink. Thwack. Hey, if you want to keep, it's been about 30 years now since they really ramped up all the hate in our society to untold levels of extreme jerkiness. And I gotta tell you, it's working so great. You've made so much progress. Everything's so much better for each and every one of us. I really can't see why you'd make a mid-flight course correction. Yeah, that's right. Number two, I'm not always accurate on stuff. So, I'm pretty accurate though. However, you might want to look up some of these things because, you should be looking up things all the time. If you had wings, if you had wings, if you had wings. Goddamn hair. There's got to be some kind of tonic that will put it into shape. I've shortened the length of these episodes recently. And so there should be a tonic that can keep it in place for just 35 freaking... Tweety bird. I'm feeling like... Look at that. You already... 2 minutes and it's already flopping on me. One less bell to answer. One less egg to fry. All right, let's see. You have to live with it. Hang in there, my friends. We'll get through this together. The flopping hair, the humidity enhanced hair flop shall not deter us from our earthly burden to sally forth and do what no adherents to top 10 worst of lists have ever feared to tread. Ooh, false alarm. All right, so anyway, we got to do the freaking commercials. God damn it. There we go. This is always... why not try, next time you go to the movies, why not try the new taste sensation? It's from the makers of Junior Mints and Senior Mints, loaded with chocolate-covered toothpaste, so the elderly can have a treat that helps clean and whiten their teeth and leads to healthier gums. It's Senior Mints. And coming soon is Interspecies Feces, the new movie, I guess, I don't know, album from Rihanna. Interspecies Feces, ready for action, hot for teacher. And then immediately followed by the poutine routine. People go with the French fried potatoes with gravies and cheese curds. It's the poutine routine. They go and they do it over and over again. They go like, what would you like, sir or madam? I would like an order of poutine. Wow, you've been here like 5 times in the last 2 days for the same order. That's right, I'm on a poutine routine. It's poutine routine. Now for some reason available. And coming soon from Lucifer, your favorite, the purveyor of such fine, delicious treats as All American Media and Morningstar Farms breakfast sausage. Now comes Blucifer, the album where Lucifer sings the blues. It's Blucifer. Can't miss duet between Blucifer and John Mayer. Now available. Remember that no matter what day of the year it is, it's never any more than 364 days away from Christmas. Which is why you should keep in mind the perfect gift for the person that has everything. It's 101 Uses for a Dead Thomas Dewey. It was a big seller, followed by the hit movies The Man Who Blew Too Much, Reared Window, and the famous Oscar winner My Opponent is a Big-Eared Unibrow Dum-Dum. And the sequel, Big-Eared Unibrow Dum-Dum, goes to Club Med. Soon everyone was in on the act. Milton Berle, the biggest entertainer of the era, in more ways than one, wink wink, came out with an entire TV series designed to completely destroy Dewey called Your Schmo of Schmoes. Dairy Queen named a dessert after him called Teabag My Ball Meat. CBS even designed an entire game show that was nothing but put-downs of Thomas Dewey called The $64,000 Questionable. Only fecal freaks like it, Dewey. Thomas Dewey, one of the guys, the preeminent architects of the takeover of the United States government by the crypto-fascists in the 1952 presidential election. Thomas Dewey had all the connections necessary to put Eisenhower over the top. Eisenhower-Nixon ticket would not be stopped. All the people who played, in the background during the build-up to World War II and World War II, where do you think Hitler got the money to build the Wehrmacht and the Autobahns and all that kind of good stuff, and bring Nazi Germany from 30% unemployment down to zero unemployment within a couple of years? Where do you think he got all the money? It was 1933. The whole world was broke. It was busted. It was the height of the Depression. Well, there was only a few people in the world who had that kind of money. Harriman, Prescott Bush, Alfred P. Sloan, Henry Ford, the Windsor family, the Krupps. Those are the guys who had to pony up the money to be able to make them. Those are all guys, pro-Nazi guys. Lindbergh, all these, they're having open Nazi rallies and stuff like that, and in public and stuff, and writing magazines and journals about how much they hated the Jews and all that kind of thing. And then all of a sudden this guy Hitler just appears out of nowhere, and he's doing everything that they want, trying to fight to get rid of communism. Well, he was really pumped up to get into Soviet Union as fast as he could. Gee, I wonder why. Kill off all the Jews in Eastern Europe. Another item on the wish list of the Henry Ford types and whatnot. Go after the people who had killed the granddaughter of Queen Victoria, who was married to one of the Mucky Mucks in the Romanov family. I don't want to point out every single factual point of reference that confirms the fact that Britain, France, and Germany were all sort of in on an attempted cabal to destroy the Soviet Union. The appeasement policy of Britain's, who's that guy with the thing with the letter and the thing? I've got a letter here signed by Herr Hitler that says that our appeasement policy is working. There shall be no war. There shall be no war. Lord Mountbatten, or whatever that guy's name was. What's that guy's name? Fucking mustachioed jerk-off number one. Hang on, I'll get Jesus Christ. All perfectionists, really. Now you're a perfectionist. Now that you got to see what you got to think of, they got an appeasement policy. Do it. Appeasement policy. World War II. It's a stupid ass, gosh darn stupid ass thing. Oh my God. Appeasement. I can't believe I have to dig this deep for it. They must know. Neville Chamberlain, and that other guy, Lord Halifax. Those guys were in on it, man. Why do you think Dunkirk, they stopped their tanks rolling on Dunkirk and let all those guys up, and they're an unprotected, unsheltered beach with 300,000 people. Why do you think they let them, get off without, slaughtering the whole bunch of them? There was something weird going on. I think what they were going to do is they were going to appease Hitler, giving him all this land and everything like that, so he could sort of prep the invasion of the Soviet Union so they could get rid of communism, because they were not only unable to stop the Depression, so they needed the economic stimulus of a big giant war to try to overcome that. But they also wanted to get rid of the communists, and specifically the Bolsheviks, who were responsible for literally killing the granddaughter of Queen Victoria and slaughtering them, in fact. And so, they were just going to turn it over to Churchill, who was viewed as a klutz and a nincompoop and a total failure because of the Gallipoli plan that he oversaw during World War One. So they're going to, toss it over to Churchill, and Churchill was going to fumble it and trap all those troops and sign a peace treaty with Hitler. And they would blame it on Churchill, and then he would go out of power, and Neville Chamberlain would get back in and, build some sort of coalition to invade Russia under, a Vichy England like they had Vichy France. And they would all collaborate together and go, why do you think that none of them lost any... France didn't lose any armaments either. They didn't even fight. They basically just retreated and then gave up after the slaughter of French forces in the initial battles in the Ardennes with Germany coming out of the Ardennes forest. What do you don't want to know anything about this. You don't really give a rat's ass. All I'm trying to say is that Britain and France collaborated with Nazi Germany to try to destroy the Soviet Union, and Churchill blew it by actually being able to evacuate those 300,000 soldiers from Dunkirk. And after they did that, it was like, Churchill couldn't be touched. They were going to get rid of him, blame the loss of the troops at Dunkirk. They weren't going to slaughter him, but they were going to capture him and then sign a peace treaty. England would have to capitulate just like France. But Churchill threw a wrench in the spanner in the works, as they say. Where was I? What am I doing here? All right, so top 10 worst of list. Thomas Dewey. There's to do it, Thomas Dewey. Top 10 worst of list. But no, we haven't time for that today, ladies and germs. Today's top 10 worst of list is top 10 worst blind date conversation icebreakers. Yes, doing what we can to make life a little bit easier and get you a little bit of that, get your wick wet, as it were. Today's, I did all the stuff, right? I can just do, I did all the stuff. All right. Number 10 of the top 10 worst blind date conversation icebreakers. Conversion would be funnier. And he shoots and he scores. He made the conversion. God, look at this freaking hair. I swear to God. All right, there we go. Number 10. Nearly 1 million people have died from overdosing since 2000. The year 2000. And at the same time, 13 million have died from tobacco, with them adding chemicals and marketing to kids. So why doesn't the drug war start with tobacco? That's the perfect icebreaker. Because, depending on whoever it is that you're going out with, they're going to be like, wow, this guy's got societal concerns. It's been so long since I've had societal concerns, I don't even know how'd you do that? That's stunning. And you're like, I don't know, man, just shut up about it and latch onto my honker. Number 9 of the top 10 worst blind date conversation icebreakers. News is an acronym for North, East, West, South, but more of a symbol of us, becoming, going astray and getting lost. It's weird because it describes all the directions, and yet news media is responsible for us getting completely lost. And they'll be like, your blind date will be looking at you going like, fascinating. Let's pork. Number 8 of the top 10 worst blind date conversation icebreakers. It's going to really get you, you can go on and take your regular approach and go like, what's your favorite movie? What's your favorite episode of Gilligan's Island? And they're going to look at you I don't know, wrong way, when the wrong way guy lands on the island. Wrong way Regals, isn't it? Wrong Way Feldman. Um, Number 8 of the top 10 worst blind date conversation icebreakers. It really, start to like really make deeper connections than just like the regular stuff that you talk about. So, would you like? It's great weather we're having today, isn't it? And how about this one? Would you like an appetizers? No, wait until you get this one. Number 8. It's gonna blow your mind, and that'd be like like you'll form a life bond. Number 8, negative imagery of famous blacks interpreted on the movie screen outweighs those of white negative imagery. Why are so many black actors appearing, for example, in drag? Is Hollywood intentionally trying to emasculate black men? Plus, why does it seem like there are so many biopics about black men shown as deviant no-goodniks? Movies such as Ray and Get On Up focus on an inordinate amount on drug use, which takes away time from their rags to riches astounding achievements, literally coming from dirt poor. The Reckoning is one of what seems like tons of movies that are hit pieces against black men. This one's produced by 50 Cent, who we now know is like a big MAGA head. Michael Jackson, The Verdict, Zoe Saldana wears what is now defined as blackface in Nina Simone movie, which was so bad that Simone's family and estate refused to promote the film and got a 2% on Rotten Tomatoes. A 2% for the goddess Nina Simone. I mean, come on. It can't be a coincidence. It's a goddamn shame. And then there's that white savior narrative where a white character is celebrated for supposedly fixing or rescuing somebody of another race, such as Green Book. They even have whitewashing movies such as Ben Carson movie makes him out to be such a great person, but in reality he's a total nut job. And the bulk of the series is called Untold, where it seems like it's a relentless chapters of stories about black athletes that have it all and they ruin their career, usually with drugs, hookers, or some combination of the two. And like your date will be like, oh, take me home and savage my no hole. Number 7 of the top 10 worst blind date commercials. Oh, we need our co-host / free ultra cheap sound effects console. Make it stop. Number 7. Album member Agneta is the daughter of a Nazi. Arnold Schwarzenegger's father was a brown shirt. Sandra Bullock's father seems to have might have been a Nazi. And her husband proudly posed in Nazi regalia online. And I've not been able to get any results on web searches to see how much more widespread the problem is. It's real hard to find people who have Nazi family, extended family Nazi party members, or people with Nazi ties online. Maybe it's me. I get a lot of red flags because of the nature of, what I've failed in trying to do, in creating a bloodless revolution based on empowering what's good in people, making them too strong to dominate intellectually, emotionally, philosophically, spiritually, physically, did I say emotionally, to be dominated, and stuff. Peaceful revolution is the ultimate in red flags that you can get. There's a series of red flags you can get, it starts off with carrying some stupid ass cutesy sign at a No King's March, so you get those red flags, which are basically negligible. It's, that is actually, those types of activities are really kind of collaborative in nature with the crypto fascists. I saw, and this is serious, I saw a lady carrying a sign at one of these No King's protests, and it said, I'm a Fruit Loops, not a Cheerios. And I mean, I get what she was trying to say. So, I mean, it's not like I'm looking at her as a fiend or anything like that, but it's just freaking stupid, right? Because, like, Fruit Loops are probably the worst, or in the team photo of the worst possible cereals that you can eat for yourself, and Cheerios is one of the healthiest. I mean, if I was gonna, self-identify with a cereal, I would much want to be like Life cereal or something like that, a nice, good, healthy, low sodium-ish esque, I think, cereal, and not the freaking Fruit Loops. I mean, it's like, okay, let's, how about shredded wheat? I mean, boring, yeah, but I mean, look, you talk about fiber. Woo! Oopy doopy. It's like eating the, like a bamboo stuff that pandas eat. That's how much fiber those shredded wheats got you. All right. Number 6 of the top 10 worst blind date conversation starters. Really get that conversation rolling. The theory of time travel through maximum fun. Okay, so this is a pretty simple of my outlandish theories. This is one of the simpler ones. You go to work, okay? You're sitting at work. You get there at 9 or whatever. You start at 9. This is for purposes of examples. And you sit down and you work for, 12 hours straight, no lunch, no anything like that. And you look up at the clock and it's 9:04. Like, time drags so slowly when you're doing something that you hate. Then you get a 2-week vacation. You go to the Grand Canyon, and you hang out there. You go camping and stuff like that. And you get there, like on a Tuesday or something like that. And you take a hike for a couple hours, and you go back, and you're going to have a cookout or whatever like that. And it's already day 13 of your vacation. Literally 2 hours later. So the more fun you have, the faster time goes. So what if we could figure out a way to maximize that fun quotient so that you're having so much fun that it's just ridiculous, redonkulous. And you just keep ramping up the fun, having more fun, and boom, off you go, hurtling through space into the future. And I think that it could possibly work. And I don't know if, you have to have a really bummer time, like maybe you're working for CNN or Fox News or something like that. And then you get there in the morning, and all of a sudden then you're traveling back in time. Well, especially at Fox News, you're traveling back to the 1950s. Hello. No, actually, I don't think you're traveling back to the 50s. I think it's more along the lines of it's actually the 50s. That's what kind of work. Hang on one second. Hey, yeah, so these is top 10 worst of list of top 10 worst of blind date conversation icebreakers. This is, you can go in and do blind dates, and you talk about stuff, how pretty she looks, and where'd you get those big jugs from and stuff that you kind of could just could make things happen, go for, things work out sometimes, probably not, but whatever. You take her a cheap joint so there's no skin off your nose. And then you got, but then you could have, if you really want to make some solid connections with people and just make something just beautiful and fully immersed in a relationship with two people, companions, and not just somebody to boink on a, average Friday night or whatnot. You can pull out these conversation starters and just be unstoppable. Number 5. Johnny Cash has this song lyric that all the hipsters seem to love. I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. And they think of it as the coolest thing. Oh my God, Johnny Cash is so cool. Isn't Johnny Cash cool? Johnny Cash is so cool. What about that line about I shot a man in Reno? Oh, that's such a cool line. Well, wait a second. Just pump your brakes there, Smokey. What if the man... because it says, I shot a man in Reno just to watch him die. Not, this is a criminal guy. This is a guy who done me wrong. This is a guy who hurt my family. This is a guy who hurt my loved ones or anything like that. No. You just shoot them for general purposes. And like, okay. So what if the man he shot is someone's, family member, or a father, or someone's troubled young brother, just kind of in the wrong place at the wrong time, or, is a kind-hearted person? If you find that out, is it still cool? If to just shoot a man down and like that? So, like, what exactly are you saying is cool about that line? Again, we see movies and everything like that and video games, violent video games and stuff like that dehumanize, the human condition, stuff like that, make people look expendable. And nobody ever thinks about, Expendables is a good example of that, where people just get mowed down, tons and tons, and never, ever are allowed to think about the damage that's being done to their lives. You just kind of breeze your way through it and you cheer for the person that we're instructed to cheer for, regardless of how many horrible ramifications and results there are from the slaughter that they perpetrate as part of the movie. Hundreds of people die on screen, and you continue to cheer for Rambo like it's something. But all these people, I want to see a movie that's about the victims of these alleged maniacal, murderous pathogens, and see how exactly what's up with their lives as victims of Rambo. And the U.S., by virtue of that, the U.S. military, Murdoch, I'm coming for you, Murdoch. I'm coming for you. Jesus, my Stallone is really falling off the table there. Woo! Embarrassing. It's nothing like my Brando. I'm not going to do the Brando. I'll do the Brando. Of course I'll do the Brando. I'm not going to do the Brando. Who do you think I am? I know what people want. They want the Brando. Here we go. Marlon Brando from the movie classic that I hate, The Godfather. Sometimes I'm not saying will never go. I will come father. Thank you very kindly. Thank you so much. Yes. So fabulous. All right. So anyway, back to the top 10 worst does. Johnny Cash, man. Shooting people is never cool. Unless, like you're saving somebody who's about to themselves get hurt or damaged. Unless you're fighting against the United States. Oopsies. Just kidding. Am I? Number 4. It's a tie. Oh my God, it's a tie. It's a tie. It's a tie. Really? It's a tie. Yes, it's a tie. Number 4. Part 1 of number 4. Joe Louis had to give up a portion of his fight purses for the rest of his life to get a title shot. Can you believe that? That's how tough it was for black fighters back in those days. And number 2 of the part 2 of number 4 of the top 10 worst blind date conversation icebreakers. When Jack Johnson won the heavyweight crown back in the, the early 1900s to late 1800s, early 1900s, the authorities shut down the cameraman documenting it. And they stopped the fight right as he was about to excuse me, to win the fight. He was like beating the hell out of his opponent. He's about to be named heavyweight champion. And the one camera that's filming it, the local sheriff was forced to stop the camera so there wouldn't be a document of a black man winning the heavyweight championship. I mean, whatever. It's so horrible. It's the same thing they did to Obama, right? These are themes. Excuse me a sec. You can tell sometimes the nature of the grift by the fact that they frequently will repeat the same grift over and over again. Now, when Obama, in his first term, when he was inaugurated, and you know, whatever they call it, Inauguration Day, the head of the Supreme Court, Justice John Holmes or whatever his name, screwed up the oath of office. And so it turns out that Obama wasn't really inaugurated that day on stage. So all those people who came to see the first black president of the most racist country in history be inaugurated are all sitting there thinking that they saw the inauguration, but they didn't. They have videos of it, they have pictures of it, and they're like, this is the time we went to the inauguration of the first black president of the most racist country in history. And they're all wrong. Because not Clarence Thomas, what was it, John somebody, blew the oath of office. It wasn't valid. They actually wound up doing the legal oath of office in the White House after the ceremony was over. I mean, this is high-level Illuminati stuff here, brothers and sisters, and friends of the top 10 worst of lists. It's a goddamn shame. And it's gotta be a setup. There's no way that stuff happens unintentionally. You know? It's just... Well, that's a good conversation starter. Number 3 of the top 10 worst blind date conversation starters, top 10 worst of lists, is portraying Hollywood as a liberal media is a joke. There were 50 million or so movies that were made with prejudice and hateful content for the first 75 years of Hollywood. At that point, like 3 actors of color had won Oscars in the big categories. In all of that time, you got the movies relentlessly demonizing and making fun of people of color and tamping the brakes on their careers so they wouldn't get too big or too powerful and make too much money or become too much of a cultural influence or even be seen as human beings, really. Then later on, they continue with it. They try to make it a little bit more oblique so people can't, obviously point to it. But the fact is that if there was a real objective media in this country, they would have been slamming at home and doing all of this work that I'm about to do here on this conversation starter line item with more scope, more accuracy, because they're actually paid to do that job, but they will, they're not doing anything. They're asleep at the wheel. So it's movies like Prince of Persia, Soul Man, The Air Up There, Song of the South, Breakfast at Tiffany's, Krippendorf's Tribe, 300, Aladdin live action remake, Major League, The Green Mile, Driving Miss Daisy, Jungle 2 Jungle, Black Hawk Down, Argo, Rules of Engagement, Billy Madison, Dangerous Minds, The Hurt Locker, Zero Dark 30, Outrageous Fortune, Falling Down, The Passion of the Christ, The Body of Lies, Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom, The Siege, 21, You've Got Mail, Marked for Death, Adventures in Babysitting, Heart Condition, Scarface, Borat, True Lies, Gone with the Wind, The Toy, 16 Candles, Birth of a Nation, and Ace Ventura 2. But this only really, just minor league skims the surface. And that doesn't include the millions of movies that were made by directors that seemed to only want to do subjects which would make their movies practically a whites-only production, like Spielberg or Martin Scorsese, Coen Brothers, etc. You could count the number of lead actors that they've had in their movies of color, on one, maybe 2 penises. It also doesn't include a ton of movies where people have cancel culture for racial appropriations, like You Only Live Twice, the Charlie Chan films, the Breakfast at Tiffany's Mickey Rooney character, practically only scratches the surface of what we must thousands of movies. The Rochester characters and all these movies and stuff like that. It's just the thousands of movies were created for social engineering and propaganda and for the purposes of establishing racism as the main cultural defining quality of the United States at large. And then, you look at your date, you look up, and she's gone, or he's gone. or whatever after, like, what have I got myself into? What the hell's, Jesus Christ, I look like Mr. McZiptaluck, or whatever is Mr. Plastic, Superman villain. God damn. Number 2, I feel the legendary Catalina wine mixer from the movie Step Brothers is the greatest movie of all time, obviously. But it was in fact a metaphor for death, and that the Step Brothers, their family, their business associates, all of them died due to having a bad reaction to some therapeutic meds that were prescribed in advance of what they misinterpreted as being the Catalina wine mixer. Because in the real world, there is no Catalina wine mixer. The truth is, they were already dead. Catalina wine mixer is like some weird, like, heaven thing. And they're all like going, everything's great. And they all get their business deals. And they get the, boats and hoes. And everybody loves it. And everything's great. Will Ferrell gets the girl. And such. I mean, clearly this is not like Earth. And it's all in this, like, disembodied place that has no connection to anything in the real world. I think the Catalina wine mixer is the afterlife. I'm sorry, but I do. Let's discuss it. Top 10 worst of lists. Number 1 of the top 10 worst blind date conversation icebreakers is, in terms of the qualities of the Bewitched TV series Darren actors, Dick Sargent isn't fit to kiss Dick York's undercarriage. Jesus Christ. I'm going to have another go at it. Take 2. Ooh. All right, take 2. The number 1 of the top 10 worst of blind date conversation icebreakers is, in terms of the qualities of Bewitched TV series Darren actors, Dick Sargent isn't fit to kiss Dick York's undercarriage. There we go. Wow, what an incredible time we've had all together with us, everybody. Yes, Kirsten. Poirier, I got it right on the second time. What a great time it's been for us here on Me for Things Having Been Done. The top 10 worst of lists once again hit another one out of the park. Tune in again next time, tomorrow, when we present to you top 10 worst U.S. violations of Native American treaties. Only 10? Only 10? All right, so anyway, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for being you, and it's one of the incredible pods.